Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Your voice is echoing, Ganesh.
Now also echoing.
Yes, it's echoing right now. I don't know if it's echoing only for me or if for others also.
अब बोलना तो अपने से गो हेड गेट बंद कर दो गेट बंद कर दो
Hello. Now is it echoing?
No, now it's fine.
Okay. Then we can start now, I think. So, warm welcome to all of you from the Speaking from Margin. I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of Speaking from Margin. So today we have with us distinguished panelists, and now first I would like to introduce about our forum, Speaking from Margin. So Speaking from Margin is a student collective and academic platform for research scholars and socio-political activists and students to engage with contemporary discourse of social sciences. It attempts to build academic solidarity for social justice in higher education. We use this space to build solidarity among researchers from various marginal locations to engage with the evolving knowledge paradigm of social sciences. In our collective, researchers from non-traditional backgrounds, mostly SCs, STs, minorities, and OBCs, participate to gain a deeper understanding of research methods, conceptualizations, and theorizations in the diverse field of social sciences. In our previous session, we have received overwhelming response from our participants. Research scholars from different regional, state, and central universities in India have attended our sessions. We have organized various sessions, and some of our past speakers are Professor Kancha Ilaya, Professor Rajiv Bhargav, Professor Nivedita Menon, Nandini Sundar, Dr. Sudhir Kumar Suthar, Professor Minaketan Behra, Professor Satish Deshpande, Professor Samabrat Chaudhary, Dr. Nasrin Chaudhary, Professor Nira Chandok, Professor Joya Hassan, Professor N. Sukumar, Urmiles, Professor Maitri Chaudhary, Dr. Sohini Guha, Sundar Sarukai, Professor Narendra Kumar, Professor Akash Singh Rathore, and lots of professors who actually contributed to our forum. So today with us for the discussion on Karpoori Thakur's, to remember Karpoori Thakur's. So generally when we think that memory is an individual faculty, but when we are coming through some kind of personality who actually not only individual, who provides this sense of collective memory, which Paul Connaughton used to say the social memory. So to understand and to know more about Karpoori Thakur, today we have with us Professor Jagpal Singh, who is former professor from the Indira Gandhi Central University, New Delhi. So he also researched on this area on Karpoori Thakur, and also on recently another stalwart who get the Bharat Ratna Chaudhary Charan Singh, and Karpoori Thakur also got. So his work actually covers this kind of these personalities' life and their contribution to the society. So we have with Professor Jagpal, and to more discussant with this Professor Jagpal, we have our own Vikas Kumar Samser, who actually working as a PhD doctoral at the Center for Political Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University. So now I would not taking too much time, and I would like to welcome Vikas to proceed this session further. Yes, Vikas.
I am audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ganesh Bhai, for your kind introduction. And thank you all. And I am feel honored and privileged to speaking of margin platform. Or a special thank to Ganesh bhai and Vidya bhaiya. And first of all, I accept 2 and 3 things. I am not expert on caste and Indian politics, but I believe in social justice, and I read lots of about B.R. Ambedkar. And second thing, I will try to speak English, but I am more comfortable in Hindi, and I think I express in a better way in Hindi. So I will try to become a bilingual. So first of all, as you all know that कि भारत सरकार अभी कर्पूरी ठाकुर को भारत रत्न दिया, और उस पर डिबेट चलता है कि सोशल जस्टिस और खासकर सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स है। उसमें देखिएगा कि जब से बीजेपी का राइज हुआ है, एक अलग तरीके से पॉपुलेशन हो रहा है। तो सबसे पहले तो कर्पूरी ठाकुर पर बात किया जाए तो मैं उस पर एक जनरल जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, या अगर आप कहें जनरल जो थीम है, उसको मैं कवर करने की कोशिश करूंगा। और इसमें जो फर्स्ट बात है कि अगर किसी भी थिंकर को आप अप्रोच कर रहे हैं, या किसी भी थीम को अगर अप्रोच कर रहे हैं कंटेम्प्रेरी कंटेक्स्ट में, उसको अगर देखने की प्रयास कर रहे हैं, तो सबसे पहले उनकी जो लिगेसी है, उस लिगेसी को समझा जाए। जिस लिगेसी का फाउंडेशन कर्पूरी ठाकुर साहब ने रखा था। तो जैसे आप सभी जानते हैं कि उनका एक जन्म एक काफी गरीब परिवार में हुआ था, नाई बार्बर फैमिली में हुआ था, और जिनका अगर जनसंख्या देखें बिहार में तो काफी नेग्लिजिबल है, काफी कम है। और बिहार में वो 2 बार उप मुख्यमंत्री रहे और 1 बार मुख्यमंत्री बनने का मौका मिला। और अगर उनका लिगेसी की बात की जाए तो उसमें 3-4 जो चीज है काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है। एक तो जो सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स है, उसको समझने की जरूरत है हमें। और दूसरा कि उसमें जो रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी उन्होंने लाया, जो अपने जो मुंगरी लाल कमीशन के रिकमेंडेशन के बाद उन्होंने इम्प्लीमेंट किया जब मुख्यमंत्री बने, उसके बाद जो लैंग्वेज एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट को लेकर जो उनका पॉलिसी था जब वो मुख्यमंत्री थे, उसे हमें समझने की जरूरत है। क्योंकि अगर देखिए आप कंटेम्प्रेरी कंटेक्स्ट में भी देखा जाए तो इस पर काफी डिबेट हो रहा है, और रिजर्वेशन को काफी अलग अलग तरीके से एक वर्ग जो है उसको काफी क्रिटिकल और उसमें सुधार की बात करता है। एक वर्ग जो है जो मानकर चलता है कि मेरिट के खिलाफ है, और एक वर्ग जो मानकर चलता है कि सोशल जस्टिस के लिए रिजर्वेशन पॉलिसी काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है। उस कंटेक्स्ट में भी हमें कर्पूरी ठाकुर साहब को देखने की जरूरत है। उसके बाद अगर आप देखें, अगर उनकी लिगेसी की बात की जाए तो लैंग्वेज और एम्प्लॉयमेंट को लेकर भी काफी जो सोशलिस्ट इंक्लाइनेशन है, उसका रिफ्लेक्शन देखने को मिल रहा है। मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि जो डिस्कशन आज का जो है वो कंटेम्प्रेरी कंटेक्स्ट या कंटेम्प्रेरी इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स है, उसमें कैसे लोकेट किया जाए कर्पूरी ठाकुर साहब को, वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। और इसमें मैं 2-3 चीजें हैं जिस पर काफी फोकस करने की कोशिश करूंगा। और एक फर्स्ट तो जैसे आप देखिएगा कि एलपीजी, लिबरलाइजेशन, प्राइवेटाइजेशन एंड ग्लोबलाइजेशन के बाद इंडियन सोसाइटी में इनकम ऑफ इनइक्वालिटी और या आप कहें इकोनॉमिक डिस्पैरिटी काफी बढ़ा है, और एक सोशल जस्टिस पॉलिटिक्स जो करते हैं उनके लिए काफी चैलेंजिंग है। दूसरा अगर आप देखेंगे तो एबीआर, एसोसिएशन ऑफ डेमोक्रेटिक रिफॉर्म, एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है, उसका रिपोर्ट अगर आप देखिएगा तो उससे क्लियरली रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा है कि इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स में क्रिमिनलाइजेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स हो रहा है। उसके बाद मनी मसल पावर का रिफ्लेक्शन हो रहा है, और उसमें खासकर मिलन वैष्णव का काम आप पढ़ सकते हैं, जो बिहार में ही उन्होंने स्टडी किया था, जिसमें उसके बाद इसमें तीसरा एस्पेक्ट जो है, खासकर मैं बी आर अम्बेडकर को कंटेक्चुअलाइज करके 25 नवंबर 1949 में जो स्पीच दिए थे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में, और उन्होंने कहा था कि भारत 26 जनवरी 1950 के कंट्राडिक्शन के एरा में जा रहा है। और कंट्राडिक्शन ये है कि पॉलिटिकल राइट्स तो हमें सबको मिल रहा है, 1 वोट 1 वैल्यू, परंतु इकोनॉमिक एंड जो सोशल स्फीयर है, उस स्फीयर में काफी डिस्पेरिटी है, काफी इनइक्वालिटी है, और उसको हम कैसे टेकल कर रहे हैं, कैसे एड्रेस कर रहे हैं, उस पर हमारा डेमोक्रेसी सर्वाइव करेगा। तो उस कंटेक्स्ट में भी अगर आप देखें तो कर्पूरी ठाकुर का जो पॉलिटिक्स है, या उनका अगर कहें जो आप बिहार स्टेट में जो उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा बिहार पॉलिटिक्स में, उस कंटेक्स्ट में भी देखने की जरूरत है। जैसे आप देखें, अगर आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के स्टूडेंट होंगे तो फॉर्मल सेंस में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को हम देखते हैं तो मान के चलते हैं कि सबको बराबरी मिली हुई है उसमें। अब आर्टिकल 14, 15, 16 देख सकते हैं और उसमें कोई डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं हुआ। लेकिन अगर आप सब्सटेंटिव सेंस में देखिए तो इंडियन सोसाइटी जेंडर के आधार पर, कास्ट के आधार पर, आप रीजन के आधार पर, लैंग्वेज के आधार पर आप देखिएगा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन काफी ब्रॉडर सेंस में आपको देखने को मिलेगा और अभी भी मिल रहा है। तो उस कंटेक्स्ट में जो कर्पूरी ठाकुर का पॉलिटिक्स रहा, एक सब्सटेंटिव सेंस में अगर आप देखें, जो अगर आप सोशल जस्टिस को अगर आप समझें तो उसमें इक्वालिटी को एक फॉर्मल सेंस में नहीं देखा जाता है, लिबर्टी को एक फॉर्मल सेंस में नहीं देखा जाता सेंस में देखते हैं सब्सटेंस। अगर इसको मैं थोड़ा सा क्लियरिफाइड करूं तो जैसे आप देखें तो इक्वलिटी आर्टिकल 14 के थ्रू आपको मिला हुआ है, लेकिन उस इक्वलिटी को अगर आप सब्सटेंटिव सेंस में देखें तो क्या इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी सबको है
Because
एजुकेशन में?
Professor Singh will be talk, then you will reflect on your thought, I think, because you are deviating from
Okay.
him, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
You will come later to
Okay.
intervene. I mean, after his talk, you can give your comment.
Got it. So over to you, sir.
Shall I start? Okay.
Yes.
First of all, let me thank you, the speaking forum. The speaking forum is speaking from margin. The speaking from margin, the forum, I must thank that the forum is giving a chance to me to reflect on some of the issues. And also, I thank you, Vishnu, I thank you, Ganesh and Vikas. And Vishnu, who is a student of Central University, Hyderabad, he had contacted me about it initially. So thank you all. Before I, in fact, talk about the contemporary issues and relevance of Karpoori Thakur's legacy to the contemporary politics or democracy, I think we can go into the background of it. And what we see today, the placement of different castes in Indian democracy, in fact, there is no equality. Different castes are placed differentially. If you look at the representation in different legislative bodies, whether in the parliament or in the assemblies, you can find in every region or in every district only a select groups of select social groups or castes are represented. Many of them get remain excluded. So the question before us remains, why certain caste groups are represented sometimes in disproportionate to their number and certain remain excluded. So this is the question which I'll come to later, which is a contemporary issue, and how Karpoori Thakur's legacy is relevant to this. But before we go into it, I think let's look at the making, the factors which led to the making of Karpoori Thakur. Who was he, and what is his relevance to the empowerment of marginalized groups, or his contribution to deepening of democracy in India. In fact, we can look at his biographical story in some phases. The phase one is from his when he entered the public life, that was in 1938 till 1967. This is one phase. Second phase is from 1967 to 1977 or 1980, and the last phase is up to 88 when he died. And the ultimate phase is the phase after his death. So what happened to his legacy, and what is his contribution, and how relevant is he today? And why political parties are giving Bharat Ratna to people like Karpoori Thakur, Jagpal Singh, or Stalwart, and many others. And what is the significance of that?
Sir, the voice is echoing.
It's not audible. Voice is echoing.
Sir, I think we should disconnect this call and you can rejoin. Then probably we can get more clear audio. I think there are some glitches from your side.
Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute.
Is it okay now?
Yes, now it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, he entered public life. I think we are aware now that he was born in a village of Samastipur district, and he suffered social discrimination in his village, and he in fact had to face humiliation. He came from a area which had a feudal system, and his childhood was full of social discrimination. That area, the people from lower castes, they had faced social and social discrimination at every level. And then, did the discrimination decline or end after independence? If we see the behavior of the dominant groups towards him and his family, even when he was the chief minister, it shows that it has not declined. So he had come from such a background. And he entered public life in 1938 when Acharya Narendra Dev had gone to his area, and he was addressing a meeting, and he noticed Karpoori Thakur. He was very young at that time, and Acharya Narendra Dev noticed him, invited him to speak, and he spoke there, and he came into the limelight. Later on, he joined the national movement. He was in jail for quite many years. Before he became a socialist, he was quite active in student movement, and he was in fact member of All India Student Federation, that is CPI. He was member of that one. After the CSP was formed within the Congress party, he joined the CSP, and when CSP came out, Samajwadi Party was formed. He became member of the Socialist Party, and then the socialist movement in India has passed through various phases, and there were a lot of splits and mergers. And in this merger, Karpoori Thakur was not taking sides. He, in fact, played a role of a kind of, the peacemakers. He was mediating between the two. Then, when the socialist movement was taking place, there were various parallel movements taking place. And by 1957, the socialist movement and the backward class movement, it got merged. After it got merged, the socialist movement took up the cause of the backward classes. And in 1967, the reservation for backward classes had become a very important issue. And it was then that Karpoori Thakur emerged as the tallest leader of the backward classes in Bihar. And it will not be exaggeration to say that in North India, he represented one of the most important leaders who raised the issues of the backward classes. He was chief minister twice and deputy chief minister once. And he, in fact, played a decisive role in the social movement in India and in Bihar politics for almost 5 decades. When he was in the opposition, he was not in the government, he was active and he was raising all kinds of issues which mattered to the marginalized groups. But when he was in government, though for a short period, we all know that his policies were very important. Language policy, employment policy, reservation policy, and we see the impact of these in Bihar society. In fact, I talked to a lot of people who come to Delhi from Bihar, and I talked to a lot of people who were there in Bihar at that time. In fact, they talk about the contribution of the socialist movement, and particularly Karpoori Thakur. Had the socialist movement not been there, had people like Karpoori Thakur not been there, many communities, they would not have lived the life with self-respect. So that was his contribution. But in fact, Karpoori Thakur was quite powerful in terms of making policies or in terms of intervening in the issues of social justice. When he was in the government, and when he was not in the government, then he was raising these issues on the floor of the house. When he was in the government, we all know that for around 1 decade, he played a very important role. And in 2 of his governments, we know about his policies. But then after his government fell in 1979, we see the decline of Karpoori Thakur. He was not as powerful as he was earlier. In fact, a time came when he was completely isolated, and people who were with him, who in fact banked upon his support, they also isolated him. And a stage came when he had to say that I was born, had I born in a particular community, that means particular backward class dominant community, I would not face this humiliation. So a stage came a person who was leader of, or who represented almost all the communities, not only backward communities, even those who are not backward communities, he represented their interests. And a time came when he just got identified with the backward classes. And then again a time came when he was identified, he felt so marginalized that he lost support even among the backward classes. Why so? That means a person who was very powerful, who was very popular at one point of time, and his popularity declined, and he became powerless towards 1988. And then something happened before, just 2-3 days before his death. He was addressing a meeting, and after that, he died. So a person who was so powerful at one point of time and declined. Person coming from the marginalized community, he reached that level, and then his power, his influence declined. How do we explain this? I think we can explain this in some broader issues relating to Indian democracy. If we look at even the purpose and the context in which he has been given the Bharat Ratna, that also explains that also explains the nature of Indian politics. So how symbolism is working, but the substantive issues have been pushed into the background. In fact, if we look at Indian democracy, this point I made earlier too, that it's not everybody is not treated equally, and the treatment of Indian democracy we can see in terms of the attitude of the government, that means state, the attitude of the society, how society treats, and how the state at various levels. That means if you go to the local level of the state, police or judiciary or the government institutions at local level, if you look at the behavior of these, how they behave towards different communities, how the communities are able to mobilize themselves. Like there are certain communities who can mobilize themselves into any public action, and there are some who cannot. So if we look at democracy in these terms, I think there exist degrees of democracy. not everybody is treated equally. And elections are not the true indicator of democracy, just one part of democracy. Certain communities are there who only can vote, but they cannot be given tickets to contest elections. The Karpoori Thakur belong to that kind of community which is marginalized in terms of representation in the government institutions, in the state, and in society also generally marginalized. Now situation has changed. So how do we explain that? In fact, it depends. There are certain, we can look at Indian democracy in terms of, I think, 3-4 issues. One is realism, reality. Another is morality. And then the politics. If you look at, I think it's the reality of life, that always whoever has been dominant group, जिसकी लाठी उसकी भांस बोलते हैं, that has always been there. And now in Indian democracy, perhaps we see that thing is now has become obvious. For some time there was cover. Like 70 years after independence, we could see there was some kind of cover to whatever was happening in the society. That discrimination was always there. The marginalization of certain groups, the dominance of certain groups was always there. Now it has come in public, it has become very crystal clear. It has gone, I mean, it has taken a concrete form. It has become a dominant trend. So it's a reality of life. Reality of life is that if you are not strong enough, if you are not, if you are marginalized, then you remain discriminated. Maybe it may be a controversial statement, but I think this is my one submission. Karpoori Thakur belongs to that group, that community, and these communities, then there are many, discrete, hundreds of them are there, but they are marginalized. So if you do not have enough numerical strength, if you do not have consolidation in a particular area, like numerical consolidation, and if you do not have economic independence, not necessarily you are rich, if you do not have these, then you are marginalized. And you remain marginalized. This is one. That means there are those who have relationship with these three factors: their number, numerical strength, their in a particular area, their consolidation, and economic. That means these are constant, these three constant factors, which any community which has these factors is dominant, is influential. So I'm coining a new term, not dominant, new term, not dominant, dominant castes. These are politically influential castes. So those who are politically influential castes, they have better placement in Indian democracy. And those who do not have, they do not have. So Karpoori Thakur belongs to that politically marginalized caste. If you, I mean, you take statistics from different areas of the country. In every district, in every state, you could find 3, 4, 5, 6 communities. They're everywhere. Others remain marginalized. So that means on certain times, certain people who are marginalized, they also play their role. How do we explain that? I think certain situations came in life of Karpoori Thakur that he was able to prevail. I think for this, we can look at the context. And the context of time and space, there was a time when the socialist movement was quite strong, and socialist movement addressed the issues of backward classes, marginalized groups. So the Karpoori Thakur was product of that. And as a result of the social change from within, and also as a result of the policies of the state, the groups which were not, which did not have leadership at that time, the leadership which was provided by marginalized community person like Karpoori Thakur, they did not have this leadership. So in due course of time, they emerged. They have their own leadership. So they don't need people like Karpoori Thakur. So if you look at in terms of caste groups, the castes which are middle castes, which we call dominant backward classes, they have emerged. So they don't need people like Karpoori Thakur. Now they have their own leadership. I think he was product of a particular time. particular context. And when the context changed, he got marginalized. He got isolated. That means there are certain times when even marginalized people can have their say, can be recognized. So this is one. We can in fact compare him with person like Charan Singh. Charan Singh also, in fact, Charan Singh and Karpoori Thakur, there was an age gap between the two, but both of them were contemporaries. They prevailed in, they were active in politics almost at the same time. And both were quite powerful at one point of time, and I think both of them declined towards the 1980s. Karpoori Thakur influence declined because from the backward classes themselves, the groups which were dominant, they emerged. Karpoori Thakur got marginalized. In Charan Singh's case, the community which he belonged to, that is confined into certain districts of Western UP. If you compare that community with similar kind of communities at higher level, that means entire UP level, is also minority. So by the time he was there, the middle caste communities, which were just like his community, they had not come up. Now they have come up because of policies of the state, whether land reforms policies or backward class reservation policies, whatever, they have come up, and they are posing a challenge to the community to which Charan Singh belongs. So his community may be strong in a particular region, but at all UP level, they get marginalized. So I think a matter of time, matter of context. So now this is the realism. It's a reality of life. So reality of life is that if you are strong, if you are powerful, you are going to have, you will prevail. So then here comes the question of ethics and morality. I think it's real politics. If you have power, the rules and regulations do not matter. And ethics matter here, morality matter here. If you are a powerful person, how do you behave to those who are not powerful? Here is the question of morality. I think in Indian democracy, that morality question is irrelevant now. Whatever the court decides, you don't bother. Whatever rules or regulations are there, you don't bother. You don't care for the constitution. It's your power, it's your strength on the basis of which you are trying to prevail. So, realism, now ethics, and this is a part of politics. Vikas mentioned about role of crime and all that. So this is part of that. Now, since Charan Singh, Karpoori Thakur, or Swaminathan, or many others, they symbolize something. And they are being appropriated. On the cultural issues, on symbolic issues, you appropriate them, you appropriate their legacy. But when it comes to the substantive issues, whether it is employment, whether it is poverty alleviation issues, these are not your priority. Your priority is to exploit, appropriate the legacy of these leaders. So now coming to Karpoori Thakur, in fact, after his death, he became a source of inspiration for the backward classes in North India, in general. Nobody knew him before that. In fact, I published a book in 2021 from Routledge, and for that I had interviewed large number of people. There is apart from the politics of representation in the government institution, that means apart from electoral politics, the people are involved in politics of recognition. And many of the backward communities whom party is trying to appeal, if they get recognition somewhere, like they also exist. They also have their icons. They also have their leadership, their background. If you give them the message, they support. So it's a conflict between politics of recognition and redistributive justice. So far as Karpoori Thakur's legacy or his influence among the backward classes is concerned, he is quite respected. I mean, his legacy is quite, influential. It's quite followed in the extremely backward classes of Bihar. They have become a group. So if you say Karpoori Thakur's, we give him the Bharat Ratna, it sends the message. And sometimes other issues become secondary. For you, roti chahiye ya samman chahiye. Samman is more important. So self-respect sometimes become more important. And this was given to them by Karpoori Thakur. So I think this is the context in which his legacy is being appropriated. It may, like in UP also, his legacy is respected, is followed, but there are these extremely backward classes that are too scattered. They still have not become a bloc. There are individuals fighting, different political parties are using them. One group is supported by one party, then other group is supported by other party. If one goes to this party, other goes to other party. So that kind of thing is, situation is prevalent. So I think it's this appropriation of the legacy. And this legacy was carried forward by Bihar's backward class leadership. They may have some, issues with Karpoori Thakur, or people might have, people have the reservation that so-and-so leader ill-treated Karpoori Thakur. I mean, that's part of politics, real politics. But the next leadership did carry forward his legacy. Like when it came to once Lalu Prasad Yadav, he had said that roti, this self-respect is more important than self-respect is more important than your economic needs. Same thing Karpoori Thakur had once said. So both are important, but sometimes self-respect is also important. There was a time when people could not, walk with pride. They could not enter into certain localities with good clothes on. I think situation is changing. So that legacy is being appropriated by different political parties. And whether it will pay or not, it will pay in elections and all, or not, that's another point. But I think in Indian democracy, this is a reality that whoever has the strength, whoever has the might, prevails. I think if you want me to proceed further, I can proceed, or we can enter into some debate or question answer. Yeah.
So now I would like to request Vikas to reflect his thoughts after Sir's explanation and this kind of thought-provoking lecture on Karpoori Thakur. So you can reflect your thoughts on his talk. Yeah, Vikas.
थैंक यू सर. आपने काफी क्लियरली और काफी स्पष्टता के साथ जो कर्पूरी ठाकुर का लिगेसी था और जो हिस्टोरिकल कंटेक्स्ट जो था, खासकर उसमें जो फ्रीडम मूवमेंट जो था और उसके बाद उनका जो पॉलिटिकल कैरियर था और उनका जो लिगेसी था, उसका काफी अच्छे से आप रिफ्लेक्शन इसमें दिखा. उसमें मैं 2-3 थीम जो है जिस पर मैं थोड़ा सा रिफ्लेक्ट करने की कोशिश करूंगा. एक तो जैसे सर ने बोला कि रोटी है आजादी, या आप कहें सम्मान या रोटी. तो जो सोशलिस्ट मूवमेंट रहा 1917, या जैसे सर ने लालू यादव को कोट किया कि जब ओबीसी पॉलिटिक्स 1980 और 1990 के डिकेड्स में जब आप खासकर मंडल कमीशन के बाद अगर आप देखें उभार, तो उसमें आत्मसम्मान वाले पार्ट पर काफी फोकस किया गया. और सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स का एक जो सबसे बड़ा क्रिटिक्स जो है
विकास वैसे
आज कंटेम्परेरी कंटेक्स्ट में कि सम्मान की बात तो किया गया, लेकिन एक जो अल्टरनेटिव.
आई एम ऑडिबल?
यस, परफेक्ट, गो ऑन.
या तो जैसे मैं बोल रहा था कि जैसे अगर देखें आप ओबीसी पॉलिटिक्स को देखें, खासकर अगर आप कर्पूरी ठाकुर को लेगेसी को समझना है तो उनके बाद का जो जनरेशन है, अगर आप खासकर लालू यादव के पॉलिटिक्स को देखें या नीतीश कुमार के पॉलिटिक्स को देखें, तो जो रोटी एंड आज़ादी या आप कहें सम्मान या रोटी की जो बात है, सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स में हमेशा से एक पिलर्स रहा है। और एक जो सबसे बड़ी क्रिटिक्स जो है सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स का, उसमें से एक पॉइंट यह है कि अगर आप देखें सम्मान की बात तो किया जाता है, लेकिन जब तक अगर कोई ग्रुप इकोनॉमिकली अगर आप कहें वेलबिंग नहीं होगा तो सम्मान की बात करना बेईमानी होगा। और खासकर मैं इसमें अम्बेडकराइट जो रीडिंग है और अम्बेडकराइट जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, अगर आप कहें जस्टिस का, तो उसको मैं काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट मानता हूँ कि जिसमें अगर आप किसी भी कम्युनिटी को पॉलिटिकल मोबिलाइजेशन आप देख रहे हैं 1990 में, आप ओबीसी में खासकर उसमें कुछ कास्ट डोमिनेंट ग्रुप के रूप में इमर्ज कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी अगर कास्ट सेंसस आया था और कास्ट सेंसस काफ़ी क्लियरली रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा है कि अगर बिहार की सोसाइटी में देखें तो ओबीसी में भी कास्ट जो डिस्पेरिटी है काफ़ी व्यापक रूप से है, और 2-3 कास्ट को छोड़ दिया जाए तो उनकी स्थिति में ज़्यादा सुधार देखने को नहीं मिल रहा है। तो यह पॉइंट कहीं ना कहीं रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा है कि जो सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स रहा है या जो सम्मान और रोटी जो बेस रहा है सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स का, उसमें जो सबसे बड़ा लेकुना मेरे हिसाब से जो दिख रहा है कि जो एक अल्टरनेटिव डेवलपमेंट अप्रोच होना चाहिए या अल्टरनेटिव डेवलपमेंट अप्रोच जो सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स को देना चाहिए, वो आप 1970 या 1980 या आप कहें लालू या नीतीश के पॉलिटिक्स में वो रिफ्लेक्शन नहीं दिख रहा है। खासकर लालू के पॉलिटिक्स में अगर बात किया जाए, उसमें खासकर एजुकेशन अगर आप देखें या हेल्थ देखें, जिससे एक मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटी जो है एजुकेशनली आप कहें अगर उनका रिप्रेजेंटेशन बढ़ना चाहिए। और एक कारण ये भी है कि कहीं ना कहीं जो राइट विंग है एक डेवलपमेंट वाले एस्पेक्ट को लाकर इस वर्ग को एप्रोप्रिएट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, और उसमें खासकर आप वेलफेयरिस्ट स्कीम उनका अगर आप देखें तो एक तो ये पॉइंट था मेरा। सेकेंड पॉइंट, जैसे सर ने बोला कि माइट इज राइट इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स और इंडियन डेमोक्रेसी में काफ़ी रिफ्लेक्ट करता है, और मेरे हिसाब से इस कंटेक्स में भी हमें कर्पूरी ठाकुर को काफ़ी एक कंटेक्स में रीड करने की ज़रूरत है कि खासकर आफ्टर एलपीजी देखिएगा तो इंडियन सोसाइटी में क्रोनिक कैपिटलिज्म का काफ़ी रिफ्लेक्शन हो रहा है, और उसमें अभी जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का लेटेस्ट जजमेंट जो है इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड पर, तो आप देखिएगा कि एक जो सांठगांठ है पॉलिटिकल पार्टी और जो क्रोनिक कैपिटलिस्ट क्लास है, उससे कहीं ना कहीं एक मार्जिनलाइज ग्रुप जो है, अगर आप कहें जो पॉलिटिकल इक्वलिटी की जो बात की जा रही है, अगर उसको सब्सटेंटिव सेंस में देखा जाए तो वहाँ भी स्पेस श्रिंक हो रहा है, क्योंकि इलेक्ट्रल जो पॉलिटिक्स है इंडियन सोसाइटी में वो पूरा मनी एंड मसल के इर्द गिर्द अगर आप देखें तो रिवॉल्व हो रहा है। तो उसको भी हमें समझने की जरूरत है कि अगर आप कर्पूरी ठाकुर को लेगेसी को आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और उसमें विश्वास करते हैं, तो इस कंटेम्प्रेरी कंटेक्स्ट में जब क्रोनी कैपिटलिज्म और अगर आप कहें एलपीजी का बूम है और काफ़ी रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा है इंडियन सोसाइटी में, आप सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में खासकर उसका रिफ्लेक्शन काफ़ी अच्छे से दिख रहा है। तो उस कंटेक्स्ट में भी मैं मानता हूं कि कर्पूरी ठाकुर का लेगेसी काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंस है, खासकर मार्जिनलाइज सेक्शन के लिए। कि मार्जिनलाइज जैसे उनका अगर आप देखें जीवन पूरा, तो इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स में माना जाता है कि उनकी जो सुचिता और जो ईमानदारी रही है इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स में, वो कहीं दूसरा उसका रूप या आप कहें दूसरा उदाहरण देखने को हमें नहीं मिलता है। तो उस कंटेक्स्ट में अगर देखें तो एक इसमें और मैं बिहार के कंटेक्स्ट में बात करने की कोशिश करूंगा। जैसे मैं एक एडीआर का रिपोर्ट पढ़ रहा था, तो जो लोकसभा और राज्यसभा के जो सांसद हैं बिहार में, अगर दोनों को आप कंबाइन कर दें तो उसमें से 75% जो सांसद हैं उन पर अपराध क्रिमिनल केसेस चल रहे हैं, जो कहीं ना कहीं अगर आप नीतीश कुमार बोल रहे हैं कि हाँ मैं कर्पूरी ठाकुर के लेगेसी को आगे बढ़ा रहा हूँ, लालू यादव बोल रहे हैं कि हाँ मैं कर्पूरी ठाकुर के लेगेसी को आगे बढ़ा रहा हूँ, और उसके बाद आप ही के स्टेट में 75% जो है सांसद उन पर क्रिमिनल केसेज हैं, तो जो लेगेसी है उसको भी हमें सब्सटेंटिव सेंस में समझने की जरूरत है। और मैं सर से खासकर जानना चाहूँगा कि सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स में देखा जाए तो खासकर अंबेडकर का अगर आप रीडिंग देखें तो उसमें सोशल जस्टिस के लिए कास्ट एबोलिशन पर काफ़ी फोकस किया गया, लेकिन अगर पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंट रीडिंग आप करें या पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंट अगर आप पॉलिटिक्स को देखें तो कास्ट बेसिस पर ही सोशल जस्टिस को मोबिलाइज करने की कोशिश किया गया। तो मैं सर से चाहूंगा कि थोड़ा सा इस पर रिफ्लेक्शन, जो एक कंट्राडिक्शन दिख रहा है कि अंबेडकर मानते हैं कि सोशल जस्टिस के लिए कास्ट एवोल्यूशन बहुत जरूरी है, लेकिन पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंट जो इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स है, सोशलिस्ट पॉलिटिक्स है, उसका अगर आप उसका रिफ्लेक्शन देखें या अगर आप कहें उसको अगर आप रीड करें तो उसमें कास्ट के बेसिस पर कोalition या कास्ट के बेसिस पर जो एक मोबिलाइजेशन दिख रहा है ओबीसी का, तो जो सोशल जस्टिस का जो सपना था अंबेडकर का और जो पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंट जो सोशलिस्ट लीडर थे उसमें कंट्राडिक्शन काफी दिख रहा है। तो मैं सर से चाहूंगा कि थोड़ा सा इस पर रिफ्लेक्शन सर का।
हाँ विकास जी, ये बात ठीक है, ये सही बोल रहे हैं आप कि कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन है अंबेडकर फिलोसफी में सोशलिस्ट का इंडिया में, क्योंकि अंबेडकर कास्ट को बिल्कुल हर तरीके से खत्म करना चाहते थे। इनफैक्ट वो कास्ट के पीछे जो बेसिक विचारधारा है वो उसके विरोध में थे। इनफैक्ट उनको हम सब जानते हैं, उन्होंने धातु चेंज किया और वो
Your voice is again breaking. Yeah, you are not careful. It's breaking. You can exit and join again, I think, because I think some technical issue.
Old laptop they has.
Digital India. Unmute yourself, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yes. Now.
See, वो तो पूरा तरह से जातिवाद जाति प्रथा को खत्म करना चाह रहे थे, मगर लोहिया या समाजवादी जो है वो जाति को मतलब कास्ट के रिजर्वेशन की बात कर रहे थे, वो कास्ट को खत्म करने की बात नहीं कर रहे थे। अंबेडकर कास्ट पूरी तरह खत्म करने की बात कर रहे थे। आई थिंक वो लेगेसी कंटिन्यू करी आगे तक, और ना ही उनका, जैसे आपने भी कहा, उनका कोई सोशलिस्ट की डेवलपमेंट की कोई ज़्यादा प्रायोरिटी नहीं थी। आई थिंक मेरा जो EPW वाला आर्टिकल है, जो कर्पूरी ठाकुर को आर्टिकल लिखा हुआ, मैंने उसमें भी पॉइंट आउट किया है कि उनका जो बेसिक इशूज रिजर्वेशन और सिंबॉलिक थे, और वो जनरली प्रोटेस्ट की राजनीति करते थे, एडवर्सियर पॉलिटिक्स, मतलब यू हैव टू क्रिटिसाइज, कांग्रेस को क्रिटिसाइज करना ही है, उनकी जो वेलफेयर पॉलिसीज भी क्रिटिसाइज करनी है, आपका डेवलपमेंट एजेंडा आप कुछ अल्टरनेटिव लेके नहीं रहे थे, और जिस आइडियोलॉजी की बात करते थे वो जनरली गांव पे वो उनका फोकस जाता था, रोमेटिसाइजेशन गांव को बहुत ज्यादा करते थे। तो आई थिंक वो तो बेसिक डिफरेंस है दोनों के अंदर। आई थिंक मैं शायद ठीक बता पाया, मैंने कुड आई
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Because if you have not anything else, then we can take some questions from our audience. So if anyone have any questions, then you can raise your hand and you can unmute it. Yes, Vijay, go ahead. Introduce yourself. Ask a question.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for wonderful speech. सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मे बी इट्स नाउ, मुझे लग रहा है कि ये रिपीटेटिव क्वेश्चन हो जाएगा, लेकिन जो सॉरी मेरा वॉइस इको कर रहा है, सो आई शुड लीव। ओके, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है सर कि जो इंडियन डेमोक्रेसी में जो रिजर्वेशन मिलता है वो इंडिविजुअल को मिलता है, और इवन जो इंडिविजुअल है, लेकिन जो अभी जो बात कर रहे हैं उसमें एक चीज और है कि ग्रुप राइट्स की अगर बात करें, जिसमें इसलिए लगता है कि ये ग्रुप राइट्स है, लेकिन ये है नहीं, क्योंकि देयर इज अ लेयर विद इन द हिंदू कास्ट सिस्टम, जिसमें भी देयर इज अ लेयर, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्पैरिटी विद इन द ओबीसी, विद इन द शेड्यूल कास्ट एंड विद इन द शेड्यूल ट्राइब, जो मोस्टली जिसके बीच कहा जाता है कि रिजर्वेशन की बात। तो सर ये जो ग्रुप राइट्स जो है जो बेस्ड का जो एक जो आइडिया ऑफ द ग्रुप राइट्स है उसको क्या कितना क्वालिफाई करता है इंडियन कास्ट, इस पे सर थोड़ा फोकस करें। मुझे इस पे इंसाइट्स आपका क्या है और मैं इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा क्यूरियस हूँ सर। और इसमें सर कि क्या जो पॉलिटिक्स है, जो पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन के नाम पे या जो अभी जो कंटेम्प्रेरी इश्यूज हैं खास करके कि सर्कटाइजेशन विद इन द फोल्ड जैसे ओबीसी और एससी एंड एसटी, इसमें किस तरह से रोल प्ले करेगा सर ये जो, क्योंकि देयर इज अ डाइकोटोमी, स्टेट का जो है और सोसाइटी का जो रिफ्लेक्शन है उसको किस तरह से ये रेजोनेट करने की कोशिश करेगा सर। आम की थैंक यू सर।
कि रिजर्वेशन तो इंडिविजुअल बेसिस पे ही मेरे हिसाब से होना चाहिए, बट वो इंडिविजुअल किस सोशल ग्रुप में आता है उसके हिसाब से। यदि आप कम्युनिटी सच को कहेंगे तो इंडिविजुअल फिर कम्युनिटी को कैसे करेंगे, कम्युनिटी में भी तो इंडिविजुअल को ही देना पड़ेगा ना। तो इंडिविजुअल एक कम्युनिटी में प्लेस्ड है, मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटी के अंदर है, और क्योंकि एक मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटी के अंदर वो पैदा हुआ है तो उसको एक इंडिविजुअल जो एक सोसाइटी एक पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिटी का हिस्सा है, तो उस सेंस में आई थिंक रिजर्वेशन उसी हिसाब से तो एक जस्टिफाइबल होगा। और दूसरा सवाल आपका क्या था, स्टेट रिप्रेजेंटेशन, व्हाट वाज दैट? हेलो
विजय।
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जो स्टेट जो जैसा कि आप कह रहे हैं कि इस पे लिमिटेशन है कि स्टेट रिजर्वेशन ग्रुप राइट्स के नाम पे इंडिविजुअल जो कास्ट रिजर्वेशन के नाम पे या उस इंडिविजुअल को ही दे सकता है, देयर इज अ लिमिटेशन फ्रॉम द स्टेट पर्सपेक्टिव। लेकिन सर किस तरह से जो स्टेट और सोसाइटी रेजोनेट कैसे कर रही है, हाउ दे आर रेजोनेटिंग, और ये जो इलिटिसिज्म बिटवीन द जो ये है रिजर्वेशन पॉलिटिक्स का कि उसको किस तरह से देखना चाहिए। मुझे मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि यस थैंक यू।
आई थिंक जो स्टेट में जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो रहा है लोगों का, तो एक पर्टिकुलर सोशल ग्रुप के लोगों का हो रहा है। अब उसमें वो उनके साथ में क्या दूसरे सोशल ग्रुप के लोगों का भी रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो रहा है या नहीं, आई थिंक ये सवाल। और उसमें वो उसमें पूरी तरह से सबका इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं हो रहा, इवन मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटी में। इसी वजह से इसी कारण इशू उठ के आता है कि देयर शुड बी द डिफरेंशिएशन विद इन द मार्जिनलाइज कम्युनिटी ऑल्सो। तो आई थिंक ये तो स्टेट का और सोसाइटी का जो रिलेशनशिप है वो डिपेंड कर रहा है कि कौन स्टेट की जो पोजीशन है उनको कौन ले पा रहा है, चाहे वो लेजिस्लेटिव बॉडी के अंदर हो, लाइक एमएलएज, एमपीज या पंचायत के मेंबर्स हों, या वो आप स्टेट इन टर्म्स ऑफ जो स्टेट के फंक्शनरीज हैं, गवर्नमेंट ऑफिसर्स हैं, उसकी सेंस में हो। तो वो जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन है वो तो अभी भी वो जो उस पोजीशन में वहां जाने की वही कर पा रहे हैं। और जो अमोंग दी सो कॉल्ड हाई कास्ट जो रिसोर्सफुल है वो जा रहे हैं, और अमोंग दी marginalized groups also, those who can afford to go there जा रहे हैं। बट अभी भी डिफरेंशिएशन तो है, मतलब पूरा इक्वल रिप्रेजेंटेशन फ्रॉम ऑल कम्युनिटीज नहीं हो रहा है अभी भी। तो लगता है कि वो भी जो डिफरेंसेस सोसाइटी के हैं वो रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहे हैं स्टेट के अंदर। आई थिंक मैं तो इसको इस तरीके से देखता हूँ।
विद्यासागर, यू कैन।
Am I audible?
Yes, you are ready.
Thank you, Professor Jagpal, for such a wonderful discussion on Bharat Ratna Karpoori Thakur. Sir, I would like to know, more particular about the ongoing politics of reward. Like, if you look at the whole series of Bharat Ratna Award given by Government of India, and the parallel very undemocratic confrontation in the peasants movement which happening. And one hand government is saying we are very pro to social justice and very pro to farmers and the other subaltern groups, and other hand they are diminishing and destroying all the democratic means of protest and dissent. So sir, I would like to know, if you look at the history, just a decade behind the previous government, do you think they failed to do you think they failed to recognize the social justice issue? For example, either like Congress, they didn't give the equal space to the leaders who are associated with the social justice politics. They must recognize before, and that's why this is the gap the BJP came and they fill that gap. For example, we are demanding this Bharat Ratna award for Karpoori Thakur and other social justice leaders since long time, but the previous government they didn't even listen at all. And don't you think this was also a mistake or gap which was carrying since the last government, like Congress government particularly, and somehow that this is the appropriation of the subaltern politics by the ruling right wing BJP?
Yeah, Vidyasagar. Hello? Am I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I think it's a quite valid question. See, it's a calculation. It's a calculation on the part of the political parties. And on the part of the current ruling party, the calculation is this, that whoever is can be appropriated by whatever means you do that. So far as the marginalized, I think symbolism is not now confined to only one particular caste. Every caste, there is a competition going on that their cultural symbols or their icons should be recognized. And now there are two issues. One is this cultural symbolism. Other is distributive part of it, substantive part of it, economic issues. And as Vikas also was saying, that now this is the corporate group which is dominating. So you protect them, at the same time you try to win over people. And people have these two kinds of issues, cultural symbolism, recognition, self-respect. Particularly marginalized people feel at least their self-respect is being recognized. Okay, economic issues are there. They also, whether they'll be handled or not, that's a second issue. But at least somebody has recognized them. That is which the ruling party is catching in on. And so far as Congress is concerned, in fact, we have to see it as a part of the process. When Congress was there in 1950s, 60s, and Congress is there today, there is a difference. And these issues are addressed only when there is a pressure from below. And so far as these cultural issues are concerned, if you read the literature, there was no politics of symbolism, at least till 1980s. Except Dr. Ambedkar's issue, Ambedkarism, in fact, Ambedkar's issue became only 1990s a political or cultural issue. Except those who are Ambedkarites, hardcore Ambedkarites, they became conscious of Dr. Ambedkar's ideologies and all the by 1970s or 80s. And other communities, this started much later. So it was after the death of Karpoori Thakur, after the death of Chaudhry Charan Singh, after so many others, that the next generation, which became conscious of their identity and rights by 1980s, they started talking up. And these are not only political parties, that Janata Dal, U or RJD, they were raising these cultural issues. No, they have come through from the communities. The different communities, they are having their caste associations, their organizations, their caste intellectuals, they have been raising these issues, and these are coming up now. And this is on which the ruling party is trying to exploit, and Congress, it was not an issue in their time. It came only like in earlier Congress. This present Congress could have done it, but for them it was not the priority. But BJP took advantage of this. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Ankur, you raise your hand, so would you like to ask?
Yes, I have a question. Thank you so much, Jagpal sir, for your wonderful lecture on Karpoori Thakur. Can I please request you to mute yourself so that, because the voice is echoing. Yes, thank you so much. My question is related to the transition which is taking place within the BJP. If you look at the Congress in the 650s and after the independence, the whole MLAs, I'm talking in context of Bihar. If you look at the profile of the different MLAs in the state assembly, most of the people were coming from the upper caste, right? 80 to 90% people.
But over the period of time, this profile of the MLAs in the state assembly has changed drastically. If you look at the profile of the MLAs in Bihar of Congress, it has changed, right? And similarly, if you look at the BJP, now slowly and gradually it is also transiting. Like there are different scholars like Sudha Pai and other Badri Narayan who says that the BJP is changing because Badri Narayan argues that RSS, which is considered to be the foundational organization which backs the BJP, earlier it used to oppose this globalization and privatization because it was talking about the Swadeshi movement, right? But now it supports BJP is totally very aggressive in terms of privatization, right? So there is some change, and now we are seeing that it has started to appropriate the subalterns, like symbols of subalterns, right? Marginalized heroes like Karpoori Thakur. So how you reflect on this transition which is taking place? So can we just say that the way the Congress has changed? Because at one point of time it was the totally Brahminical party, but now it is talking about the Nyaya Yatra, right? Social justice. So similar assumptions, similar prediction can be made about the BJP in the long run. Thank you so much.
So, Ankur, actually, if you look at the reality, even though the composition has changed, this composition is confined to certain communities. Again, there is a difference in the sense that the erstwhile communities, which many of the communities which were excluded earlier by the Congress, they are being included by Congress and other parties. That's okay, but even there you can find only a limited number of castes are there. I mean, take Bihar. If you look at the MPs, MLAs, you could identify 3-4 castes. Among the backward classes, you have Yadvas, you have Kurmis, and you have some extremely backwards individuals here and there. They are being used by different parties, they're tossed, you know. So the proper composition you just see. They are only earlier high castes have been replaced, or there is a change with the representation of the backward classes, but only a few ones. Only 4 or 5 castes: Yadvas, Kurmis, Bhumiyar, Rajputs, Brahmins. Others, there are exceptional cases. There is explanation to that. I think the change is taking place, but still it's confined to the politically influential castes. Not dominant, politically influential caste. Politically marginalized, they still remain marginalized. So then, cultural recognition. So if you do not give them the representation, at least you are giving them cultural recognition. So they'll support you. That's why many of them supporting BJP. At least they are Hindus, cultural recognition in terms of Hindutva. I disagree with that. I mean, this project as such, but at least that kind of feeling is there. At least somebody approached you. Congress did not approach you. And regarding this economic dimension, I think it's corporate politics. And they're using the political forces and this what we quid pro quo. They are serving their economic interests. They are helping them politically. So it's there. And crony capitalism is penetrated Indian politics, I mean, very forcefully. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone has any other question? Yeah, actually I had one kind of commentary, not a kind of question. When there is a discussion on the criminalization of politics by Vikas was bringing the ADR report also. But rather only looking, I am agree with you that criminalization of politics is not viable for a good society. But also we have to look when we are talking about the marginalized politics on these questions, the mandate of this, if we look the figures like Phulan Devi. So we also not just look in the black and white context of the criminalization of politics, because it is also some kind of scholarship which has been deliberately used that the criminalization of politics has been the negative side of political spectrum. That I was just thinking. So we also have to look very deep way, why this politics actually looking from that side, because of the exploitation has been continuously taking towards this community, marginalized community. That would be a reason for that. So we need to look at the ethics of criminalization of politics. That one comment that I would like to bring here. If sir would like to respond anything on this, then yeah, unless you are muted.
Kind of situation Fulan Devi was in. You may legally, legally you may, I mean, it's not the way to protest according to legal issues, but that was the way she reacted to the operation she had undergone.
Yes. Yeah. So if anyone no questions, then now it's call for day. So I would like to thank Professor Jagpal Singh for his valuable and thought-provoking lecture and guiding us into a new direction to understand the socialist leaders and socialist stalwarts in the contemporary time. And also I would like to thank Vikas for his engaging and enriching comments and reflection. And also would like to thank Vishnu, who actually coordinated and for whom actually this lecture been successful. And before we going to conclude, I would like to announce something that we are, the Speaking from Margin is going to organize its second annual lecture, which it will be happen in Indian International Center on 29th of this month, February. So please join with us. It will be happen in afternoon in India International Center, and please tune with us. We will also share the poster and everything very soon. So thank you all of the audience also, and thank you sir for your time.
Thank you and all the best for your program.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we can now wind up the meeting.